you know. Yeah.
What's your favorite Usopp line?
Usopp line. It's been a while since I recorded Usopp.
Aw.
Can't remember.
How about the Rubber Band of Doom?
That's it. That would be it. Yeah.
Really?
Rubber Band of Doom. Yeah. That was so cool. He's like, Usopp Hammer, Usopp Hammer, Usopp Hammer, Rubber Band of Doom, Usopp Hammer.
That's in the Arlong arc, I think.
Love that line. Rubber Band of Doom. Yes, Legs.
Is that my nickname from, you know?
It is right now.
What? Yeah. I'm already his friend. But what's your opinion on the lack of Hughes merchandise or stuff with Hughes in it?
I don't know, I've seen quite a bit of merchandise from Hughes, but I'm always surprised when I come to a convention and they don't have Krillin merchandise and they don't have Hughes merchandise. It's like, do you not look at the guest list, beforehand? I mean,
the guest
you could
list,
make a lot of money.
The guest list was like really, really close. Like they didn't tell us like until a week before the convention.
Yeah, but this happens all the time. It's like I'm really surprised at the conventions that don't have merchandise of the voice actors who are there. Because they could make a killing off of that. And all they have to do is just look on the list. Usually months ahead of time, they'll tell you who's going to be there.
They didn't.
They didn't?
No, they were like really slow this year. They were extraordinarily understaffed.
But I booked this a long time ago.
They didn't tell us. Last year they told us like all the way in January, but they didn't tell us until like 2 weeks before.
That's not my department, so you have to call the convention.
No, it's our staff.
And say, we want to know who's coming out here.
Yes, because
before I put my money down, I want to find out if it's worth anything.
Or
10
the paintings.
10 minutes. Is there somebody coming in after me?
Yes. Hentai. You can stay.
Hentai is in here after that?
Yeah.
Are you staying for it? No, that's too bad.
Legs isn't.
Legs is not doing it?
Both legs.
I guess I'm going to stay for that.
No, Legs is multiple.
Okay, so we have probably time for 2 more questions, maybe 3. You've asked a question, you've asked a question.
I've asked like 12.
What's your question?
Challenges would someone face when trying to create original English language manga in the industry?
That's a really good question.
Specifically, not as an artist, a writer.
Well, as a writer, probably not as much as a writer, because it's pretty easy to understand the rhythm of manga, but it's really weird to be a manga artist in America, because there are expectations of American artists doing manga that Japanese artists don't have. You guys have seen Monkey Punch's Lupin the Third manga, right? Have anybody seen it? Yeah. It doesn't look anything like what you would expect manga to look like. It's more like Mad Magazine, which is who Monkey Punch was influenced by, all the Mad Magazine artists. So, but no one would dare say that Monkey Punch is not a manga artist, right? Because in Japan, if you're drawing comics, you are a manga artist. But if you're an American and you try to do that, if no one had ever seen Monkey Punch and I just drew a style that looked just like his and said, this is my manga, they'd say, shut up, that's not manga. You don't know what manga is. It's like, yeah, this is it. No, it's not. Manga has certain size proportions and things that have to be met. Eyes have to be a certain way. There have to be certain sparkles in the eyes and things like that. Otherwise, people don't think it's manga. So it's a very weird kind of thing to balance, to actually come up with something that people would say, yeah, that looks kind of manga. But my manga, one reviewer said, it's a kind of combination between Clamp and Looney Tunes. Yeah, it is. That's a good observation. So you just gotta do your best, and I think that you just write a good story. As a writer, write a good story, and then try to decide afterwards what would be the best genre to suit that story in style. That's what I would do. As a matter of fact, when I got hired to do We Shadows for Tokyo Pop, before they actually gave me the green light, the editors had a meeting, and they were trying to do, my first proposal was done in an American style. And because they said at the time they were going to try to branch out and do American style comics and manga. And the editors all had a meeting, and they said half of them they all liked what I did, but they said half of them said it's too different from the manga we do, and the other half said, well, that's what we wanted to do. So my editor came to me about this, and I said, well, if this is going to mean it's not going to be published, how about I do another proposal in a manga style? And he said, can you draw in a manga style? And I went, dude, I stare at anime 8 hours a day. I could fake it. So I faked it and sent it for 4 more pages. And to his credit, he didn't try to sway me one way or the other. He just said, well, how do you feel about your manga style? And I said, well, now that I've done it, I really can't see it any other way. I want to tell the story in a manga style. And he goes, oh, good, because everybody likes it. So they went with that. So I don't know, I say write a story and then after you have it written, decide what the style should be. You know, because it may not be suited for manga.
Didn't hinder you not being Japanese?
No. I would say not. I mean, because I was still sticking to the truth of myself, and luckily it took 6 months of negotiations to get the contract right. And I have to say right now, I got the best contract of any artist at Tokyo Pop up to that date. But I had a lawyer, and it took 6 months. But you know, usually they know that most people can't wait 6 months. But you know, I had a cool day job. I didn't need your job, so I got this job. But in that 6 months period, I had time to develop that manga style more, and to come up with something that was true to me and my own take on it. That's why it's not quite manga still. It's, you know, it's manga influenced, but I would say that it has a very American take too. Yes?
Did your original vision for it have it more like your Elfquest style?
Yeah, it was very close to ElfQuest, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that's a good question. ElfQuest was a series I worked on before that, created by Wendy Peeney. Some ElfQuest fans out here. That was an awesome experience, probably the best experience of my life on any level. I became her apprentice and worked in her studio for a year. And I would draw pages for her, and she would look at that and she would say, this works, this doesn't work, and this is why this works, and this is why this doesn't work. And it was an amazing learning experience. But the best thing I got from that was a voice in my head. To this day, I hear Wendy in my head when I draw, and she's telling me, no, that doesn't look good, fix that, you know, or whatever. And I could hear it, I would know what would work for her and what wouldn't. And it's a good gauge of quality because she is a master of what she does. So yeah, it had a very ElfQuesting look, but it was still it was like a combination between ElfQuest and Looney Tunes. So I went from ElfQuest and Looney Tunes to Clamp and Looney Tunes, and I had my wee shadows for Tokyo Pop. So that's how that happened. Yes.
Would you be interested in coming back to Kumoricon as a guest in the future?
Yeah, I hope they invite me.
Woo!
Honestly, I had one of the best times I've ever had was at this convention, and I'm not just saying that. This was really cool. You guys are very responsive, and you're very generous, and I just love this town too.
Thanks.
This is such a cool town. And that bookstore, wow!
You got it.
In my basket, not only was there sake and chocolate, which are two of my favorite things, there was a gift card to a bookstore, which is another one of my favorite things. And so, for $40. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna buy some books. And I went down there, and then I happened to see in the world's largest bookstore,
Yes, Pals is awesome.
Wee Shadows on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I had to take a picture of that. Then I made the mistake at the first panel just saying that, and someone bought it, so. Well, it's okay. So it's no longer in the world's largest bookstore, but I made another sale, so.